my Dixie wreck.
Guess we're ready for the show then. The writing is atrocious. Not a single joke come even close to remotely landing or being funny.
Get a little bit of gasoline. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn.
I don't know why, but that is extremely interesting to me. I'm into that kind of thing.
Get to the chopper. Sorry.
I feel like we're so spoiled by the internet these days.
Thankfully, this does wrap up quite quickly.
Step back. You're going to fuck up in a minute.
I'm gonna set your place on fire. Let's get higher.
How do you know about these people? And what the fuck is this pattern?
This effect made me want to die.
This couldn't make its mind up on what it wanted to be.
Get a little bit of gasoline. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn. Let's go. I'ma make it burn. I'ma make it burn.
Hello, welcome to the You Run podcast. My name is Scott, and as you can hear, I've just opened a beer because I am still on holiday. It is very hot. I am a little bit sunburned. I have been to the beach. I have been to the pool. I've been to the bar far too many times. But yeah, welcome to the show. My name is Scott. I am your host. I am your only host at the moment because I am on holiday and my co-host can't record with me because my internet connection here is diabolical. Absolutely dreadful. But that doesn't stop the show going on, and it doesn't stop me talking about Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy. Now, Halloween arguably is got the craziest fan base out there. I would say probably Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street house the craziest fans in the entire horror community, probably closely followed by Scream fans. You're all crazy too. But Halloween fans are the most extreme. And whether you do something good or bad with Michael Myers or with the Halloween name, there will always be difference in opinion. Gordon Green gave us that difference in opinion across the board on all three movies. We've covered all three on the show. If you want to go back and listen to any of those, Halloween 2018 was our very first episode. Halloween Kills we done just after it come out, and the same with Halloween Ends as well. Halloween Kills we had Elise, and Halloween Ends we had Angel from Voices from the Mausoleum join us. For this episode, I'm going to give you a quick recap of each of those movies, my thoughts on them, and my overall thoughts on the Gordon Green trilogy. And I get to do all of this without Mark going, "He ruined Halloween." Was that a good impression? I think so. He ruined Halloween. We're going to start with Halloween 2018. This holds an incredibly special place for me. It was after watching Halloween 2018 that the podcast was born. I had toyed with the idea of doing a podcast for a long time, and it was that movie that triggered me, that I went, I have to talk about this movie with someone. And I spoke about it with Lisa, but I wanted to share my thoughts with a wider audience, and hence the show was born. I gave my thoughts and views on that in a quick 15, maybe 20-minute episode that about 12 or 13 people listened to. And I was over the moon because I'd shared my thoughts and opinions with someone else. And we got our first call after that, and that was Imitation Dave, who's now you all know as the voice of the show. And from there, everything just grew and grew, and we become what we are today, which is the You Run podcast with this show, true crime, news. We've got everything, which is something I forgot to tell you on the last episode. So news, big thing with news. News is going to come to an end. We're going to do one more episode of news, and then we're going to close the doors on news. I know you all like news, so we're going to incorporate news into the main show. So news is going to go, that actual standalone show, but we're still going to give you news. We're still going to do that. And with the new free-flowing format of the show, it'll just be kind of integrated in whatever the jumbled mess is that we create. For this episode, there are no show notes because I am currently sat in a pair of shorts, and getting a pen and paper out here, well, you just wouldn't believe how hard it is. it's not really, I can see one, but I didn't take any notes because we're not doing that anymore. Halloween 2018 was, for me, something special. The original Halloween is a masterpiece. There is no question about it. It is a 10 out of 10. It was reviewed on this show, was Mark's very, very first appearance as a guest. He said 100% a lot on that, 100%. But we both scored it a 10 out of 10. It is a 10 out of 10. And what comes after that, there is a mishmash of good and bad and diabolical trash that follows that in the Halloween franchise. Halloween 2018 was something different because it just disregarded everything that come before and went as a standalone sequel to the original Halloween. And it was a standalone sequel. This was never meant to be a trilogy. This was a one and done. And we see Michael return, and we see Laurie is suffering with the effects of what Michael caused her in the first movie. She suffered trauma for decades and has become this paranoid, hardened, crazy ass woman who is hard as nails. And I absolutely love that transition. I love how he escapes. I love the addition of the podcasters who want to go and interview him, because that's the sort of stupid shit that we would do for this show. If I thought for a single second that me and Heather could get in to interview a serial killer, 100% we would go there and interview with that serial killer. And I just found it so believable. And I love when he escapes, he does this process of regaining everything. So he gets the coveralls again, he gets the overalls from the mechanic. He then retrieves his It's just picture perfect all the way through to the end. That movie, whether you love it or hate it, you cannot deny it. It is a superb sequel to John Carpenter's Halloween. If you ignore everything else that come after the original, if this was a sequel that we got straight after, or when we got it, and nothing else had happened since, everyone would have been crying with joy. It's so good. It's that good. Let's move on to Halloween Kills. And this is where I think for Halloween 2018, Gordon Green had most of the fans. I think most people were fully on board and everyone was excited for Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills on a rewatch is a real mixed bag. There's some stuff in there that is absolutely brilliant. His relentlessness in how he kills, and some of the actual kills in that movie are outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. The opening scene with the firefighters arriving at the house, because it follows straight on from 2018 when Laurie traps him in the basement. The opening scene when he comes out of the house is arguably the best moment in the entire Halloween franchise. And I include the original in that. That scene is outstanding. It's shot brilliantly. It shows how strong Michael is and how resilient he is. And it's got some of the most brutal kills. And when you add the POV of the firefighters, it's just so impactful. It's so impactful. We also get, I know, which is Mark's favourite kill, we've dubbed it the John Wick kill. If this is your first time listening, this is not a normal episode. But the John Wick kill is the kill where the girl gets the gun and she tries to shoot Michael. He kicks open the door, it spins the gun round and she blows her own face off. It is a fabulous kill. In fact, the entire movie, kill-wise, is excellent. The problem that it's got, and where it started to lose fans, die-hard fans, I think we'll call them, is where they started to dabble with the paranormal. So, and Evil Dies Tonight. That is horrific. That line still now plagues me. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. That is the worst bit of scripting ever. It needed to happen once, maybe twice. It didn't need an entire mob chanting it for hours. In fact, while we're on the negatives, mistaking Danny DeVito lookalike for Michael Myers, a mental patient who's about 5'3" with a balding head, for someone who's 6'2" and built like a tank wearing a mask, is just, the mind boggles how they made that mistake. And And I'll be honest, that's lazy writing and it's rushed writing. And that's because Halloween 2018 done so well as a standalone. And they went, oh, we need a sequel. And I imagine that's the production company jumping up and down. 2018 was a labour of love that took years to put together. Halloween Kills was a labour of rush and money that got thrown together last minute. And because of that, it has these flaws. The supernatural flaw is Michael is attacked at the end. He's surrounded by the entire town. The scene's awesome. We get Iron Lady. Anyone who's not spotted this, we spoke about it on our original episode. There is a lady who takes an iron, as in like an iron you iron your clothes with, to take out Michael Myers. And there is a shot where she smacks him around the head with it. But they take Myers out. And Myers still gets up. And this is where I think a lot of people think he transitioned from being a man into something paranormal, which I think would have worked better had they committed to that in Ends. But I know people like the fact that Michael is just a man. That's what makes him scary. And I think for me, that is, on this rewatch, is a bit of a problem. Probably more because I know what comes next, but I would have liked it if they'd have just kept him a man, but they didn't. He then goes on to kill Laurie's daughter, which there's no payoff for this. There's genuinely no payoff. And the end of the movie leaves Michael staring out the window of his childhood home. It's just an odd ensemble. Halloween Kills. It's a real mixed bag from start to finish. I'm going to dish out some scores. So I scored Halloween 2018 on my first watch a 9. And that's what I scored it for our very first episode. I'm going to keep that as a 9 because I think it's right. I scored Halloween Kills a 10. On a rewatch, it's taken a massive nosedive. Halloween Kills is a 7. It is not what. Watching this in the theatre when it was first released was an experience, and I was overwhelmed with everything that was going on. And I loved the paranormal twist, and I loved how it ended, that it was so ambiguous. And yeah, on a rewatch, knowing what comes after, it's lost marks. It lost marks because of Halloween Ends, which is where we're going next. But first, I'm going to take a sip of my beer because it's hot, and I like beer. Also, normally those sort of things I will edit out, but out here editing, forget it. There is no editing whatsoever. If I make a mistake now, it's staying in. If there's a long, awkward pause where I have a brain fart, it's staying in. Halloween Ends. This is the most recent movie I've reviewed for the Halloween franchise. I scored this a straight 10 out of 10. I know this is the most polarizing movie in the entire Halloween franchise, probably equal with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which I also love. That is also a 10 out of 10. And Mark's not here to argue. It's a 10 out of 10. Halloween Ends built the entire premise of that movie to something that it didn't fulfill. On this rewatch, I wish they'd had the balls to commit to what they were originally going to do. So we see Michael living in the sewer, which I don't know why he was there. I genuinely don't know. I want the bit where he leaves the house and goes and lives in the sewer. I need that gap filled because there's no explanation of how he goes from being this supernatural fucking machine in Halloween Kills to this decrepit old man living with the Ninja Turtles. It doesn't explain that for me. And on a rewatch, I need that explanation. We get Corey Cunningham, which a lot of people don't like. I love the fact that they toy with the idea that evil can be past and the town will always have a boogeyman regardless of whether it's Michael or it's someone else. I love that idea. The actor who plays Corey Cunningham does a fabulous job. Laurie Strode and his interactions is great where she can see that he's turning evil. I love all of that. But again, they didn't have the balls to commit to it. Halloween Ends feels to me that they had a lot of great ideas of where they wanted to take it to end it. And they bottled every single one, or the production company stepped in and made their own decisions on how they would move forward. So the options that they should have gone with is either Michael's mask was from the Silver Shamrock Company and tie it all the way back to Halloween 3, which is kind of what they insinuate all the way through with the radio tower. And it's kind of, the whole thing is geared that way. It's like it's written to do that, and then they don't do it. Or have Michael die. Have Corey kill Michael and Corey be the new Michael. Have him kill Laurie Strode, have him kill Alison, have him wander off into the woods. The end. We now have a new boogeyman. We now have 10, 20, 30 years more of Halloween with this new killer. But they killed him, and they didn't commit to that either. Instead, what they went with was this kind of, we had the final fight between Laurie and Michael, and lots of people criticised this, saying it wasn't long enough, it wasn't grand enough. These two, in real life and in the story, are old as fuck. If you're doing this in the story, they're both in their 60s and 70s. They're not going to have a fucking John Wick fight in the kitchen. They're going to have a scuffle and a tussle. And we got the callback to the knitting needle, which was great. We got some brutal fight, and it wasn't very long. But I think that fits, that works for me because of their age. Let's put this in some element of realism. And that works, and I enjoyed it. What I didn't enjoy was the mob that follows, the kind of, the police arrive, and then the FBI arrive, and they're like, you can't take that body anywhere. And the police are like, well, in this town, we can do what we like. And then they, I don't know, they do this weird funeral procession up to it's like an industrial chipper for metal. I don't even know if these exist. I was always under the impression in like metal factories that they have things that crush into squares. I didn't know there was something that ground it into little pieces. And long and short of it, Michael goes in there. Again, they had an option there to get Michael and Laurie to go in. It's done. It's finished. It's never coming back. But only Michael goes in. We then get the mask on Laurie's desk for the final shot, and she's living her life, and she's happy, and she's banging the policeman, and everyone lives happily ever after. I liked that ending when I first watched it. On a rewatch, that ending is bullshit. They had so many options to commit and do something really special. And if you take this well-established franchise, this horror icon, arguably the greatest horror icon ever made, make him just a puppet of the Silver Shamrock Company. Fans would have lost their fucking mind. Not all of them in a good way, but it would have caused such a stir. Kill Michael in the early stages of the movie. Kill Laurie in the early stages of the movie. Kill Alison. Kill anyone who's linked to the original franchise in the first 20 minutes. Introduce a new character or a couple of new characters. Teens, take it back to the beginning. Have Corey stalking them. Have Corey kill them. I don't know. Bring in a new policeman, a young policeman. Get him to shoot Corey and Corey run off into the woods. That can be your ending. Fuck, if you want to go really all in, shoot him 6 times. The franchise is reborn. Have the balls to commit to something. But they didn't. They half-arsed it. And now, from what I understand, we're going to be getting either a series, which is going to tell tales of individuals in Haddonfield and their encounters with Michael, or we're going to get a remake of Halloween 3. It doesn't need remaking. You don't need to remake that movie. And I love remakes, and I will watch that remake. I'll be all over it, but it doesn't need doing. It's a standalone as it is, loosely tied to the original. If you're going to do something with it, sequel it, prequel it, do something with it that isn't just retreading the same old treads. What's the point in going over the same stuff we've done already in that movie? There's nothing else to be explored there. I don't think there's anywhere else you can take that. And I just don't understand why. Halloween Ends, score-wise for me, I still love it and I still really enjoyed it, but I had issues with it. It's an 8 out of 10. So 2 of these movies have dropped drastically watching them as a trilogy. And I think purely for the fact that Halloween 18, they've done such a good job. They put so much work and effort and love and dedication into that movie. Halloween Kills was rushed because they were pressured to make it move quicker. And Halloween Ends, they just lacked the guts to commit to something. And I'm desperate to see some alternate endings to that, because I'm pretty sure they shot some alternative endings. They shot a scene where that mask is the Silver Shamrock mask. They shot an ending where Laurie Strode and Michael died. They shot an ending where Michael died and Corey survived. I'm sure they filmed all of those and they genuinely didn't know which one to go with, and they all ended up on the cutting room floor. That's what I think. And I want to see those cuts. If this is your first time in listening and you've managed to stay to just this solo, slightly sunburnt, drunken man rambling about the Halloween trilogy, the Gordon Green trilogy for this long, please stick around, because next week we are back to our normal show. It's completely reformatted, it's completely changed, but it is me and Mark. And if you don't know what that is, go back and listen 3 episodes back. Go listen to some older episodes and you'll get an idea of what you're coming in for. Thank you, everyone who listens every week. I genuinely appreciate all of you. I'm being called to go and have more beer and go out for dinner, so I'm going to do that. We will catch you next week, where Mark is back. I am back. The gags are back. The games are new. 3-word review is back. The 10-word takedown has its debut. It's going to be a riot. What more could you want? And we're covering Rob Zombie's Halloween, which Mark is going to try to defend to the ends of the earth. And do I let him? Find out next week. Until then, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you then.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
The cheaper, nastier, the better for me.
Would you have stayed after this?
Sorry, man, I was completely off guard there.
He's in his coffin. He's the undead.
This was the best bit of the film.
This is not the last time someone's going to steal your man.
Yeah, Mark's not a nice guy.
You didn't notice this scene. It looks like he's got an extra leg.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've literally got nothing here. Surely that'd be even worse. The more listeners we have, the worse that's going to be.
Yeah, but I will just get a new phone.
Oh, I tell a lie, actually. Yeah, because we used to have teletext.
Art the Clown makes Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees look like pussies.
I can only assume that this was due to budgetary reasons and they couldn't afford enough extras.
Are you going to have Buster Rhymes in your list of characters?
Mate, I can't believe you don't know Idle Hands.
I'm going to ram my foot down his fucking throat. It was awesome.
It fucking wasn't awesome.